Have you ever been robbed? To my knowledge, it's never happened to me personally, but I know many people who have been robbed, including my Uncle Mark and Aunt Cheryl. They live about a mile away from church, and after they got back from a church service, this has been years ago, they discovered that their home had been robbed. And I can't imagine the feeling of walking into your own home to find that some stranger has been in there and has robbed you of your valuables. But today I want to share a story of a woman who made a frantic call to the police. She had been robbed, and she reported that her God had been stolen. Now, I'm not sure what country this lady was from, but the authorities took this very seriously and began searching for her stolen idol. And after some time, the police station called her and informed her that they thought they had located her God. So this woman, she goes down to the police station, and an official held up the idol and asked, is this your God? And the woman shook her head in sadness, and she said, no, that's not my God. My God is not that size. And the article never said if that woman ever retrieved her missing God, if it was ever recovered. But after reading that story, I did some research online, and I found that over in the country of India, there's actually an entire police unit that's called the Idol Wing. And this unit's responsibility, among other things, is to investigate and retrieve stolen gods. Because from what I read in the article, the theft of idol gods has been on the rise. And when I read this, my mind immediately went to Isaiah chapter 44. And there's a few verses here to read, but listen here to how the writer describes those who worship a false god. Listen to what he says here. The carpenter stretcheth out his rule. He marketh it out with a line. He fitteth it with planes, and he marketh it out with the compass, and maketh it after the figure of a man, according to the beauty of a man, that it may remain in the house. He heweth him down cedars, and taketh the cypress and the oak, which he strengtheneth for himself among the trees of the forest. He planteth an ash, and the rain doth nourish it. Then shall it be for a man to burn, for he will take thereof and warm himself. Yea, he kindleth it and baketh bread. Yea, he maketh a god and worshipeth it. He maketh it a graven image and falleth down thereto. He burneth part thereof in the fire. With part thereof he eateth flesh. He roasteth roast and is satisfied. Yea, he warmeth himself and saith, Ah, I am warm. I have seen the fire. And the residue thereof, listen to this, the residue thereof he maketh a god, even his graven image. He falleth down unto it, and worshipeth it, and prayeth unto it, and saith, Deliver me, for thou art my God. Now you may be saying, Brother Richard, what does this have to do with me as a Christian? Well, I want you to ponder the question that we asked at the beginning of the devotion. Have you been robbed? And we can talk about the Lord, we can sing about him, but if we're not careful, the trials of life can quickly rob the faith and the confidence that our prayers will ever be answered. And I'm reminded of the passage in Mark chapter 9 where the father had brought his son to Jesus, and when he pleaded for his son's deliverance, Jesus said, If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. But in verse 24, I've read this for many years, and it's always stumped me initially. It said, Straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief. And this passage, it can seem like a contradiction, because at first he says, I believe, then he follows it with, help my unbelief. And I'm sure that many Bible scholars have different interpretations of this passage, But bear with me here. I feel like that this father had faith to believe that God could do anything, so much so that he even believed that Jesus could heal that hurting heart within him that was eating away at his faith. Because you see, he had witnessed the many years of his son's desperate conditions. Other gospels record where Jesus asked him how long this had happened, how long this son had been in this condition, and that father said, of a child. So while we don't know the son's age, we do know it does appear that there had been a passage of time that this situation had kept going and going. And with each passing year, I can imagine it was robbing this father of his faith that his son would ever be made whole again. And I feel that someone today is in that same place. You're not looking for a false god that's been stolen, as the lady in our opening story. But today, as I'm talking right now, you realize that Satan has been stealing your faith and your confidence that anything will ever change about your circumstance. And Hebrews chapter 10, this came to my mind when I was preparing for this devotion, that says, cast not away therefore your confidence, which hath great recompense of reward. But when I opened to that passage, the following verse jumped out at me. It said, for ye have need of patience, that after ye have done the will of God, you might receive the promise. And I feel like I'm talking to someone today that you know the scriptures from cover to cover. You could probably quote every promise, every truth about the Lord. And you realize he's not been stolen like some little false god on a shelf. You know that. But with the passage of time and some painful circumstances that may only be between you and God, you realize that Satan has been stealing from you. Your faith and your confidence has been stolen. But I want to leave you with the words to an old black spiritual that we've sang over the years. It says, I went to the enemy's camp and I took back what he stole from me. And the end of it says, for he's under my feet. He's under my feet. The enemy, or can I say that old thief, is under my feet. So can I encourage you, child of God, take it back. Take back that faith and confidence that the devil has been trying to steal from you. It's not up to me or you to know God's timing, but it is up to me and you to say, God, restore unto me. Help me to take back that faith and confidence that has been stolen from me. So take it back, child of God. Let's go forward in 2024 with victory.